Hey everybody, it's Amy Head at New Perspectives for Life in Marietta, Georgia. It is time for our micro-minute strategy for our mental health, our mental well-being, our mindset, our success, all kinds of things. We're doing these micro-minute strategies every single day for the entire year, and today is day 13. It is January 13th, so it's our 13th micro-minute strategy, and today we're going to focus on a piece of communication. This is going to be a micro-minute strategy that can really help your communication with other people, because I think a lot of times we have things we need to talk about, things we want to say, things we want to approach, and we're just not sure the most effective way to do it. Maybe we've had some times in the past where it hasn't really gone well, or it could have gone better, and we're wondering, what we could have done to make that happen. So this micro-minute strategy is something that will be helpful in all kinds of communications, from family to friends to work to community, all kinds of things. So when we're going to go into a communication, especially one that could be controversial, could be confrontational, could have some disagreement around it, different perspectives, different positions, different interests. One of the things we want to think about is, and this is what our micro-minute strategy is going to focus on, what is the goal of what we want to happen in this communication? So the micro-minute strategy is going to be, before you go into the conversation, before you go into the communication, take a minute, set a minute on your timer, and ask yourself, what is my goal in bringing this up? Because a lot of times I think we know what we want to happen from the conversation, and if it already starts looking like that's not going to happen, that's where we might tend to shut down. We might get defensive. We might get frustrated. We might get confused. We might wish we had never even started the conversation. But we don't always really know what the goal is. And sometimes when we can ask ourselves that question ahead of time, we can sort of decide, is that goal realistic? Is that goal reasonable? Is that goal worth it? Do I think this communication is worth the goal that I'm wanting to achieve? And if the goal isn't really possible, then do I really want to get into this anyway? Or maybe I want to shift the goal to something that's a little bit different. So for example, I had a client session this week, and one of the family members is trying to decide how to have a conversation with another family member about the things that that family member has done over the years that have been hurtful. They've never really talked about it. They've never gotten involved in any conversation. And to their knowledge, the other party might not even realize that they've been hurtful. But this person, my client, is stuck trying to figure out, I don't know how to say this. I don't know where to start. I don't even know if I should. And so the question from me became, well, what is the goal? What are you wanting as a result to come out of this conversation? Is the goal that you want to be right? Is the goal that you just want to vent and just you don't care if they change, or if anything changes, you just want to get it off your chest? Is the goal that you want them to see your side and to make some changes on their behaviors? What is the goal? Because any of those things that I just mentioned could have very different outcomes. If I just want to vent and I will just feel better venting, then it's possible I can achieve my goal. We're not sure at what cost, because we don't know how much my venting, the client's venting, will maybe hurt the feelings of the other party. If the client's goal is to get them to change their mind, the other party to change their mind, that's a pretty tall order, and that's kind of expecting a lot, especially if it's a little bit of a blindsidedness that they didn't even realize there had been all these years of bad water under the bridge. If my client's goal is just to be able to have a decent conversation around this, they have to think about, is the other party capable of decent conversations, especially if they might be feeling like they're being put on the defensive? So when we ask ourselves ahead of time, okay, I really want to have this conversation. This other person's behavior is bothering me, or I'm really concerned about this person, or I'd really like to take this relationship in a different direction, or I have some financial concerns or some financial dreams and goals. We want to ask ourselves, take your minute to pause before you even enter the conversation and ask yourself, what is my ultimate goal in having this conversation? Ponder that, write down some thoughts about it, think about it. And then when you finish that minute, Then you want to decide, is my goal reasonable, realistic, and has the potential to actually come to fruition? Or maybe should I pivot and maybe not have this conversation, maybe not have this conversation right now, or maybe find a different way to approach it. So one example really quickly on a different approach is, if my goal ends up being, I really want this person to change their behavior. I'm tired of feeling hurt by them. I'm tired of always walking on eggshells. I really want this person's behavior to change. And that's my goal. In my 1 minute, I figure out that's my goal. And then I kind of think they're probably not going to change. Then the next thing I have to decide is, can I pivot my goal to maybe being where my goal is, I want to feel more comfortable understanding this other person's expectations. And maybe that's the goal. So then my conversation could be, I have felt hurt by some of the things you've done in the past or you've said in the past. I haven't really said anything about it, and that's on me. But I just kind of want to know, like, do you expect me to be perfect in these situations? Or do you expect me to not have an opinion about these situations? What is your expectation of me? That could be a pivot from wanting the person to change as the goal when we don't think that's going to happen, to instead taking some change of, what do you expect from me? It still communicates to the person that you don't feel good about some things. It still communicates that you felt hurt, but it also communicates you want to know where they're coming from. You're not asking them to change, but you're asking them for information. So this whole idea about communication, a lot of the messed up communications that we have is honestly just because we didn't really ponder ahead of time, what is my goal? So if we take 1 minute to just reflect on that, it can change all our conversations and communications for the better, and we can end up getting more of what we really want in the end. All right, guys, that's our micro minute for today. Thinking about that before we go into conversations, asking what's our goal. Hope that's helpful, and thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll check with you tomorrow.